we love to jump on top of people who are on our side and be like, oh, you didn't protest perfectly. Or like, oh, you share the same common goals as me, but you have this one belief that we disagree on. And because of that, like, I hate you. And like, I'm going to attack you for it. And like, there are things that I disagree with other liberals on, leftists on.
This shaming, if you don't automatically know everything about everything. Oh, you expected there to be a bouncy castle and you've never been to a protest before, have you? Obviously, not. Hey, my saucy little sleuths. Welcome back to the Boardwalk Podcast. I'm Ansley, and these are my friends, Tess and Gabe. We had such an eventful week without Gabe, so I thought we would catch him in.
See you later.
Okay, sit down.
Okay.
Thought we'd catch him up on some of the hot goss.
Yeah,
we
what
like
happened?
to call this What's Going On? I'm kidding. We don't call it that. Did you ever see anything that happened with Chappell Roan recently on the Call Her Daddy podcast?
No.
Okay, well, people hate her now because
Oh.
she said that moms look tired. And the only reason I say that is because we're seeing a lot of this repeating theme where we, as what I would consider the left, maybe the middle, maybe some of the right, like we generally agree on the same things, but we have to hate someone. And for some reason right now, it happens to be Chappell Roan who just said moms look tired because you guys look tired and you tell us all the time that you're tired, but apparently that's a cardinal sin. And I thought there'd be an interesting topic to, one, introduce to get you caught up in the hot goss, but two, because I feel like you're very educated in how we as a people need to stop fighting with each other in order to find common ground, some would say.
Yeah.
Like there's either you like Trump or you hate Trump.
Right.
And what do we do? What do we do about that? Do we unite?
Well, I think that, yeah, the left, the center left, the far left, even, you know, maybe the center right, maybe even the right all need to band together. I feel like it's got to be everybody who is against Trump against the people who are for him is like how we need to be thinking about this right now in order to get him out of office and in order to stop all of the things that he's doing. Like, that needs to be the goal. First of all, like, leave Chappell Roan alone. She is literally a pop star. She's not a politician. Anytime that a woman gets famous or popular, this happened to Taylor Swift, this happened to Jennifer Lawrence, this happens to all of them. They get famous, everyone loves them, and then everyone's like, oh, we got to tear her down. Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan. It happens all the time. This is not surprising, but it's annoying.
It is so
Leave
annoying.
her alone.
Like, when did she become the judge and jury of everything that we were supposed to believe? She's just a girl who wants to sing on a stage and get off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just let her be.
Everyone's got an opinion. You may not agree with it unless it's a completely awful take. Obviously, I'm not defending, fascists, but somebody says something, Chappell Roan, whoever, and they make a comment. People misinterpret that. It becomes a game of telephone. They're like, did you hear so-and-so said this one thing? And then it's somebody saying that, and they're like, oh, well, did you hear that? And then by the time it gets back to them, she's like, I never mentioned any of those things. I don't even know the backstory to what she said or what people interpreted, but I can almost guarantee that it was somebody who heard something from someone else who misinterpreted that thing, who then said their own opinion and projected it into there, and then by the time it came back, and then she was probably asked for a comment, the thing was like, oh, did you say this? And she's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right. It's not Chappell Roan's fault that you're tired. It's that we don't support childcare or like
we don't
anything.
Give you, we don't give you the resources and the supplements and daycare, childcare, all this stuff beforehand and after. It's like it's almost like we don't actually care or want or like actually pro-life. Shocker,
Crazy.
Republicans. But it really is that thing where it's like, maybe if we did care, maybe if we did pay people enough, maybe if we did make services more affordable and accessible, that mothers wouldn't be so tired.
Everyone's like, oh, the birth rate, like people aren't having as many kids. Make it appealing to have kids then. Stop making it be miserable to have kids. You want people to have kids? Make it an appealing thing to do, because a lot of people do want to have kids. It is a biological desire of many people, but a lot of people look at the world right now and look at the fact that they will not be supported and are like, that doesn't make financial sense to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it.
Or even the people who can't, biologically, they're like, I need help with this. So they go through IVF or some sort of other assistance. And that shit is expensive as
expensive. I told you guys I was an egg donor.
Yeah.
3 times.
Even if you have a stable income or you have certain things, like we live in a country where we're like, oh yeah, we love families. We want the birth rate to go up. All stuff is like, okay, well then make it more accessible. Make it easier to afford. Why don't you support people? And at the end of the day, you'll never find people that from, especially the right, who says they're, pro-life and all that stuff. You'll never find them actually do the work and say, oh, yeah, we want to give you access to this stuff. We want to make, there was, Alabama was the one who went after what was going to be deemed for around abortion, right? And the idea was like, oh, well, we don't want women to have the ability to get abortion. IVF was a topic of discussion.
Yep.
And so they were like, actually, we don't mean that. And then they came back and they're like, a whole discussion on states' rights and what women's rights were. And they were like, yeah, we're pro-life. And it's like, well, you're eliminating IVF as this potential of being persecuted or prosecuted against if you happen to like lose a baby or something like that along the way. And then like, oh, actually, sorry, we didn't mean that. We actually meant that we want IVF. And
yeah,
it's
like if eggs don't become embryos, then it's technically a loss of. It's like, what are you?
Yeah, it's like that's not my fault. That I should not
That's
be.
science,
I should not be
dipshit.
sent to prison or fined for that.
It's like a really perfect small example of how we. Like, there is us and there is them. And I hate to be like, oh, it's us or them. But, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And, like, we have one common enemy right now. It's one person who's been making this all really hard for everybody. And everybody is, like, aware of that. Dave Portnoy, he voted for Trump. He's lost $20 million. Great! Use Barstool. Advocate. Get him out.
I am not a fan of you. I do not like your website. But if you're going to rally your people, Joe Rogan, not a fan. You're going to speak out against Trump now?
Ben
Great.
Shapiro, not a fan.
Happy.
Speak up.
I am happy that you would speak up. I think the other big thing that happened over this past weekend was there was all of the protests across the country. Yeah. Millions of people attended. This is great. People who had never been to protests before attended these protests. And one woman posted on Threads, and she said, this was my first protest, but I wish it had been more child-friendly. And she recommended having a bouncy castle at the protest. Is this a silly thing to request at a protest?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But she got so much hate from people who are supposedly on our side. And, like, she was trending on Threads. She's just like an average person, like, who expressed a kind of dumb opinion, but like also to what she was saying, I'm like, maybe at her next protest, she's going to bring a bouncy castle. Maybe she's going to organize that. And then now you got a bouncy castle at your protest. Is that so bad? Like, is it so bad that, like...
There is an age limit. That sucks, but...
Yeah, like, I don't understand why this woman saying this. Like, we love to jump on top of people who are on our side and be like, oh, you didn't protest perfectly. Or like, oh, you... share the same common goals as me, but you have this one belief that we disagree on, and because of that, like, I hate you.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to attack you for it. And like, there are things that I disagree with other liberals on, leftists on, center like people on. But like, if we're all trying to like fight against this thing together, like, you just gotta like,
we can pick and choose our battles a little more cleverly.
Yes.
Like all that energy people put towards this woman, like, she's not a lawmaker. She
She's
didn't
not
organize
doing
the protest.
anything.
Right.
And this is like one of the things I really hate seeing, and I've noticed it so much with, I want to say, like, the younger generation or just like really opinionated people, but it's like this shaming if you don't automatically know everything about everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you expected there to be a bouncy castle, and you've never been to a protest before, have you? Obviously, not. Like, maybe take a second and be like, hey, that's not really like the vibe here.
Yeah.
Like, it's just there's no point. Like, I have never felt stupider than when people, like, you don't know what you don't know. You have no idea. And like, the fact that you're competent enough to understand there's things you don't know, that's great. That should be applauded and celebrated, because there are so many people who are like, I know everything and this is everything, and it makes people never want to listen or pay attention.
Well, and that's the other thing with certain viewpoints. Like, obviously, if somebody is so far long gone and they're a part of this cult and they are preaching horrible things, that is one thing, and that is not the
Yeah.
people we are talking about.
Not what I was saying.
But, like, sometimes give the way human behavior is, and I feel like maybe people just don't know this and need to, like, think about it. But, like, if a person has generally, they're like, oh, I'm anti-Trump, but I have this one belief that maybe we all view as, like, slightly problematic. They express it, and everybody attacks them and is like, you are bad. What that person is most likely going to do after being attacked is they're going to find the people who are kind to them. And this is how a lot of people end up getting radicalized and brought to another side, because it's like, well, all of these liberals attacked me and made me feel horrible, even though I was on their side, but this other side has accepted me. And I think that we've seen that with a lot of famous people, J.K. Rowling, and I just feel like people get more extreme when they are attacked in a way that they like.
Yeah.
People dig their heels in.
Obviously, there's a whole, bully the fascists and the bigots for sure. But I also agree with this, that there are going to be people who, they don't know what they don't know. This is the first time doing something. They're getting involved. They ask a question and maybe they didn't think it was stupid, or someone was like, oh, this is a stupid question. And then you've got people who are like acting like they're better than them, because they went to one protest or whatever it might be. When really it's like you should be trying to activate and educate as many people as possible, because I may not know everything, you may not know everything, Tess may not know everything. And so like there is a knowledge sharing that happens where it's like, oh, my experience gives you insight and vice versa and so forth, where that's why it's like, when you build a team or you build a cabinet inside the White House, you want diverse opinions. DEI actually is good because it gives you different experiences, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different knowledge, intelligence, whatever it might be. So I think for this, if you got someone who's like, oh, yeah, I want a bouncy house, like, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, it's like there was probably 100 different ways that other people could have approached this to be like, oh, if you wanted that, there's actually these resources or whatever. There might be something where there's like some sort of group that you can get where it's like other parents and, you go together just like other parents go around on Halloween with like the strollers and they have like a little, little mobile bar cart or whatever they do for like to get other people who are like them but still active. And I feel like there are tons of other ways instead of like piling on one person who, to your point, is going to be like, and they get isolated, and then somebody goes, that's what's wrong with the left. Their mob mentality, or they feel like they're elitist, or whatever it is, and they don't relate to certain people. Yeah. And I feel like, very much that point is you begin to isolate people away, and they go, well, I didn't feel welcome. And the only people that do are these people, and then it becomes a snowball effect where they're like, oh, well, I didn't have this viewpoint before, or I had the opposite. But these people on the right welcomed me in and started to eat away at what was still left of me that was good, and then brings me over, and I'm completely indoctrinated and completely radicalized into a group that I would have never associated with before.
Yeah.
And you see that all the time.
And they take, because I've noticed it's like, they will take on your problems and be like, yeah, we're in the same exact boat. Look at all this.
Right.
And it's like, it reminds me a lot of, like, when a bunch of starving piranhas in a tank are dropped a single fish and they swarm it and they eat it and it's all gone. And people are like, oh my God, like, they that fish up. And it's like, but no one's thinking about why the piranhas were starving in the first place. Like, we're focusing on the wrong thing here. Like, Chapel Roan is not the issue. The woman who wants a bouncy castle is not the issue. Some uneducated person who still has the same beliefs that all humans deserve the same equivocal right. Like, they are not the problem. The problem is the competent people who sit in these big houses and they stuff cotton in their ears and they act like they can't hear us crying.
Yeah.
They suck. Just shut the up for like 5 seconds. And like, I don't have to agree with everything you're saying and vice versa, but if we can unite on this guy, the big bad is the big bad, then we can fight about all the other when the big bad is no longer the big bad.
And this is why the left is like ineffective most of the time. Like, Republicans fall in line. Yeah. They will back up their own, and like the left does not always do that, and it hurts us.
Yeah. You're not supposed to, turn the Democratic Party into a cult.
We don't want that.
But the idea that they can see there's a greater good or goal in mind, right? And you've got these people who are like the non-voters, the left people who are like, oh, these people are voting for genocide because they're supporting Harris or whatever it might be, like, the people who are undecided in Michigan and other places. Like, look how good that did you, right? Look how good you did the whole coalition of the Democratic Party. Instead of saying, you know what, not everything's perfect, because it never is, but it rather is like, let's be progressive, let's progress step by step to make things better, so that later on we have the chance of improving it for others, as opposed to now we're in a situation where agencies are shut down, people are losing funding, resources, they're laid off, the stock market's in a tailspin, you've got an egomaniac.
Countries uniting against us.
Yeah, narcissists, like all of these people who are in power who only think of themselves, how do I benefit off of other people's suffering, as opposed to, man, if we only would have voted the woman in who was willing to listen and have a conversation. Now we have to do this game of like, we told you so, and those people who were like, oh, I'm going to teach her a lesson, like, those people are not our friends. Those people still to this day look at the situation and go, Trump versus Harris, bad versus good, right? Like, suffering, pain, despair versus like prosperity, opportunity, and the chance of like hope. They look at that and go, she would have been worse. Which, if you look at the two situations right now, and you're seeing people within the Republican Party, even some in MAGA, realizing their vote actually f***ed them over, some of those people are more willing to come to the table and have a conversation than these people on the left who are like, no. I still see it that Harris was the wrong choice, and I was going to vote for Jill Stein. F*** Jill Stein. F*** this third-party Green Party bull. I'm sorry, it's a two-party system.
It's like the equivalent of writing Harambe in the 2016
it
votes.
Totally is, and it's just like the Jill Stein thing. I'm just like, girly, run for local office if you want to be a politician that bad. Like, do the thing. She doesn't do it. I do not understand how people do not see what her end goal is, which is taking votes from Democrats. But like, if you are president, is not where you do your protest vote. It sucks, but like, people who are so far left that they're like, well, this candidate wasn't perfect, so I'm not going to vote for anyone because they are both bad. You voted for Trump. That's what you voted for.
If you do nothing in the face of oppression, you are standing very clearly on the side of the oppressors. Yeah. So we need people to get off their social, moral soapboxes and just stare into the face of evil. It's
Realize
the same
what's
face, you guys. Like, it can't be rocket science. And honestly, I'm like kind of at a point where it's like, that movie Don't Look Up? When everyone knew the comet was coming.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, that's what I feel. And I'd be okay with it.
100%.
I'd be okay with it. I'm getting day drunk on my last day, and I'm watching every movie that I haven't seen before. I'm having a good time on my way out, but I'm not losing sleep over you. So anyway, let's unite.
Yes.
Get the big bad out of office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
although there's a Simpsons prediction, apparently he's going to die on the 12th of April.
No, I think I saw that image and it was not real.
Whatever.
I know. But, obviously he's done after this term. Who knows? Maybe he'll be impeached. But we know that he said he wants a third term, and he was joking before, and everyone said, it's being so sarcastic. The guy's telling the truth. Whatever he says, whatever he does.
Everything he says is the truth. People need to stop being like, he didn't mean that. Then why'd he say it? He's the president. You want a president who doesn't mean what he says?
No,
that's
crazy. But then years ago, if I was going to run for president, I'd run for the Republican Party because they're so stupid they'd vote for anything.
Wow, shocking. He did it.
A moment of silence for the idiocy. And I think we should move on. Okay. So we're going to move on to a review and a comment that we got. Okay, so this comment was left on our Life in 2026 part whatever video. And in the video, I'm talking about how I used to be a content creator, but now I have to work for like the working class, for the crumbling infrastructure. And Oscar Nold's comments, content creation is not a job, with a skull emoji. And I would like to speak to this.
We are all at our jobs right now.
This is a weird way to find out I'm unemployed.
Those checks are coming. I swear they're coming.
I have so much credit. saved up. No, I think that's really interesting because a lot of people genuinely think like there is only the working class and the content creation is just a hobby. And to those people, I'd say, good, stay out of it because it's not for you. But to those of you who want to do it, it's possible and you can do it. And don't let some lame, stupid idiots who don't understand how the internet works tell you that it's not functioning. Because that guy's commenting on our job.
And look, there's a lot of dumb, not funny, stupid people
making a lot of money.
Making a lot of money, posting videos, terrible takes. And if they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever it might be, right, with brand deals or whatever,
I would also
you can easily do that.
Like, I feel like people look at influencers and content creators and that sort of thing, and they're like, it's not a real job, and it's easy. And it's like, it's really not.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
You have to
You have more free time and flexibility, sure.
Right, but, like, you have to be everything. You have to know a lot about cameras, lighting. You have to have a voice. You have to have a point of view. Like
constantly new ideas
Constantly
that follow trends.
I mean, I've worked with YouTubers that have 10 plus million subscribers, and they have a whole team. You know, you come in, do stuff with them. They're like, we got a couple people, 3 people doing video in terms of like the actual sketch or whatever, or the video. We got people behind the scenes that's doing stuff. We've got a team of editors. We've got a team that's working on, you know, the PR stuff. You've got your own representation. Like, it's a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. How are they paying for that stuff if they're not making money and in a livelihood off of it, right? Like, so you can do it. You can make a living, have a job, a career out of it. It's not just one person. There's a bunch of people behind the scenes connected in different various ways.
There's no rules anymore. We have a
convicted
felon
team of
as a
people
president. So
working on the Boardwalk content creation team. Like,
it's us.
It's us, and it's Meredith.
And Meredith.
And we have editors as well. So.
Oh yeah, we do have YouTube editors. That's right.
Yeah.
Love you guys. And yeah, so I just thought that was a funny take because it's always like the people who literally are so, they have no experience with this. They have no knowledge or understanding of this at all. And they're like, stupid. Why don't you go unclog a drain? That's what you're good at. This is a nice comment. And I didn't know, like, I never thought about, reading a nice comment. Do you know what I mean? Like, I only read the mean ones. Honest Small Talk in 2025. Audrey Lucero said, I watched this repeatedly because it made me feel heard and seen. It's like this was mined straight from my daily existence. Hugs to all of us folks going through this. And then it's the less than 3. And I think that's part of the reason this job is pertinent right now and it's important. The work we are doing is because, and we've talked about this in past episodes, but like the world is on fire and everything is hell and this is the bad place. And if we can make people feel a little bit better about existing in it, why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We're not adding to it.
It is my therapy. Okay. Like the way I could not sit with it all and not have an outlet for it. And so I selfishly do it because I enjoy it and also because I'm like, oh, this is like cathartic, and I'm sure it is for you too as well. But I know for me personally, it's like, yeah, I'm glad that other people enjoy it, but I also laugh at the dumb that I write or like that I do, And
I'm
like,
just
that'll
happy
get me
to
through the
have
rest of the
stable
day.
income and a job. Literally.
Surprise,
Because I was
surprise.
self-employed and now I have an LLC next to my Gusto Pay app. So, you. And next we're going to read a comment from Kev. I love the abbreviated name. And it's a review on our grievance journal. And I chose this one because it felt like it would be a really good exercise in cold reads because it's really long and has a lot of big words. So, let your scathing darkness shine. A dear friend got me this book because of a few others in our found family who, though well-intentioned, were risking their own well-being by excessively pointing out silver linings and aggressive turd polishing. Basically, I'm a silver-tongued devil with a saturine disposition and people often people are often put off / putting video of it on YouTube. Anyway, your book is very nice. Thank you. I will be buying many of them. Have a fine day. But keep your guard up. Cheers. So I failed the exercise, but I do want to say
You got pretty far in there. There's some big words.
job,
and I'm not gonna lie. I think it was the sentence structure and not my understanding of it because it got really confusing there. I was like, "There's no flow to this." Anyway, thank you, Kev, and also
you, Kev.
yes to anyone who is constantly like, "Ah," but people are like, "Look at the bright side." You don't have to, and you probably won't feel better if you do. I always hated that when I would think positively. Like I would sit there and be like, "But I have a house and this," and I'm like, "Shut the." up. Like, it's just annoying. It's annoying for me. So personally being like, yeah, I hate this I saw at the grocery store. I feel a lot better about that. And I'll be a lot nicer after it. So get your grievance journal at boardwalk.com.
Venting is helpful.
Vent to your heart's content. And now we're going to open up some of our Delve decks and ask each other fun questions so we feel better about the state of the world and also get to know each other a little better. This one is from our venting deck. And the question is, which is interesting because we all live in the same area, what is a common misconception about where you live?
I would say the biggest misconception of LA is that everybody is superficial and an actor in the industry. But if you go on to a film set, the actors are such a small, tiny portion of what is happening on that set. The majority of people who are on set are normal people who are rigging lights, who are doing sound, who are doing hair and makeup, who are making sure people are fed. There's also people who don't work in the entertainment industry at all.
Yeah.
We do have doctors and
some lawyers.
You know,
a lot of food trucks.
Yeah, there's restaurants. We got all sorts of things here.
I was thinking, one, that everyone thinks everyone here is superficial, but two, that everyone who moves here is doing it because they want to be famous.
Oh.
Where,
Wait, that's not why you guys moved here?
I mean, that's why I'm.
well, it's certainly not working.
Yeah.
No, my thing is you're some people are just storytellers or we're creatives, and like on the same vein, like not everyone here is an actor, like not everyone is in the industry, but a lot of people do come here because the access to the arts and the creative knowledge you can get and the collaborative energy, like there's a lot you can get in LA that I can tell you if I stayed in Reno, wouldn't have gotten. Mm-hmm. And it would have been a very small group of people in the same theater groups doing the same commercials, promoting the same, like it wouldn't have been anything. But here it's like, oh, I'm constantly challenged. I'm constantly talking to someone new. I'm writing something for fun. Like I'm like this and that and this and that. And I think like a lot of people just don't understand that LA is a place where a lot of people feel like they are free to express themselves. They don't have to conform to a small city that tells them they have to be a certain way. And you don't just come here because you want to be famous, because I'm telling you right now.
Or like, I really just want to keep my health care. And
Yeah.
I need to make something that is a livable wage to afford it. Because there was that problem. It was like, some people were like, oh, I can't even keep my union membership because I can't get enough work to count that, so I lose my health care. Like, there's a lot of other factors other than like, oh, look at this star on TV. It's like, okay, there's the
and
big
also
names,
that star
whatever.
has probably been an industry plant for like the last 10, 15 years and has been working with producers that they know that are their aunts and uncles. Like,
Right.
the people that are, like, a lot of us are here creatively to tell stories and just to be in it. Like, just to be in the shit.
Yeah.
You can't get that anywhere else. So that would be my misconception.
I think the other one to that is people thinking that LA or, SoCal or whatever, that we're fake, right? And it's like, look, you're going to find those people in
Anywhere.
every city you go to, inauthentic, and just, like, not real. And I think that LA, everyone's always like, oh, they're, like, plastic and blonde hair and, like, good bodies and always out in the sun and tan, all this stuff. It's like, no. That is not
A
at
lot
all.
of us have bad bodies.
And a lot of us can't afford plastic surgery, and we're scared of skin cancer.
Yeah. And so, like, you hear that, and it's like, I also think that, like, good people find good people.
Yeah.
And so you'll find people who are like-minded, who have similar interests, who like to do the same things you do, and you like to collaborate with, whether it be creatively or not. And I think that the big misconception is everyone's like, LA, everyone's fake. And it's like, that's not real. What sound instantly stresses you out?
Baby's crying.
Similar to that, there are these kids who live next door to us, and every day after school, they're in the backyard playing. And it's not so much that the kids are playing that, like, gets me. It's that there's, like, this high-pitched squeal that they make, and I'm always like, are you hurt? Like, are you in pain? And then they're like, and they're laughing, but then they do it nonstop. And I'll be like in the apartment and I'm like, it's really annoying, kid.
I don't like really loud chewing and like mouth.
Mastication.
Yeah, I don't like that word.
Okay, moist.
Moist. I'll take moist over mastication. That sounds dirty. That sounds inappropriate. Bleep that.
That, or when you walk into a bathroom, turn on the light and the fan comes on. That sound stresses me out.
Oh.
Because you feel like other people hear you in the bathroom and you're doing
No,
like a
I
number
just
two?
don't. I didn't turn on the fan. I'm pissed that it's on,
Oh,
and then it
okay.
stresses me out that there's no way to ever turn it off unless
Yeah.
that, like, I
Right.
hate that. Your turn, Tess.
Okay.
From the Joy deck. And Gabe did the original deck since
Yes.
he didn't tell you.
Sorry. For those
Men
of
are
you
not good communicators.
we're pretty bad. For those of you listening, yes, it was the original Delve deck, and it was what noises instantly stress you, or what sound instantly stresses you out.
All right, this is from the Joy deck, as Ansley so kindly just said, that I wanted to make sure I communicated as well.
Thank you for communicating your want and desire to communicate.
Okay, deepest joy. What life experience ended up being a lot better than you imagined it would be? And my answer has to do with what we've just been talking about. So
Go.
that's why I was going to do it. Moving to LA, I lived in San Francisco before coming here. I loved San Francisco. I loved doing comedy in San Francisco. The scene there was great, but definitely smaller. And so at a certain point, like moving to LA made the most sense. But I moved because it made more sense to move here. And I think like there's this NorCal, SoCal beef that is one-sided.
Is it NorCal?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
San
'cause I was
Francisco.
like, I don't think we care.
No, exactly. San Francisco, it is like LA, like blah, blah,
Bay's where
whatever.
it's
The
at.
Bay's way better. And I love San Francisco so much.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite cities and one of my favorite places that I've lived. But I really had this thought about LA where I was like, yeah, I'm going to go, but like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. And then I moved here and I was like, okay, LA is great. I love LA. And also, anytime people in LA are like, oh, you moved from San Francisco, they're like, cool, yeah, I love the Bay. And like, I'm like, it's a very one-sided beef. Like, I wanted to do it in the sense that it like made sense career-wise, but I wasn't sure that I would like it because of all the misconceptions about LA. And I
Yeah.
love it here.
Moving to San Francisco straight from college, because it was like less than a week after graduating, and
Wow.
I had a small suitcase and I went to San Francisco, and I was like of the mindset, I was like, I've always wanted to live on the West Coast. I've always wanted to work in tech. I want to do this. And I honestly had only visited once before that, like 3 months prior, to be like, I got this job. I'm going to go check it out during spring break. And I was like kind of anxious about that. So I like, the first time I lived in a city where I knew no one, and I was going in there totally blind. And it ended up being one of the best experiences of my life. And, you know, meeting all of my friends. I met Tess there. Doing comedy, working in tech. That's where I met my wife. And it was like, and also the time that we lived in SF, I think was like the peak. It was like the best time to live there.
I would say other than like, I feel like it's always kind of
Yeah. I mean, like, you'll
in
find
terms
it.
of like tech. I would say some people might argue like the 60s or the 70s are better
Yeah,
than
sure.
that.
Okay. Sure. Maybe a different decade.
I would say-
But I would say, like, when the time that we were there, I was like, this is a great time to be there, especially as someone who is in their early 20s and, you know, going to the parks and hanging out with people and going to these concerts and doing this stuff and meeting people at work and going outside. It's like, it was exactly,
It
and also
feels like
weather-wise,
an
it was like,
adult playground.
Yeah, very
like
much.
it really was just like jump on a train, go wherever you want. Like
Yeah. You're like, oh, we're
everybody's
doing a bar
hanging
crawl.
out.
We're doing this.
People are hanging
Yeah.
out after work. Like it just felt like a lot of freedom.
The other thing that I would say was really great about that experience was coming from Chicago and living through all four climates of like the seasons, you know, and the just like extreme polar opposites of each one. Going to San Francisco and be like, oh, cool. All I need is a shirt, jeans, and then I could throw a hoodie or a jacket in my backpack, and like maybe I'll need it, but most of the time I wouldn't. So like having that of like everything I have on me is what I need, and I'm good to go, and I didn't have to deal with any more of the blizzards or the hot, humid summers.
I don't know. It happened semi recently, but I'm like really happy that it happened. My boyfriend and I like broke up at the end of August for like, you know, a month and a half, 2 months there. And at first I was like, this is the worst thing. Like, you know, when a relationship ends and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like I was on my floor keening like I was in midsummer, you know, but there was nobody else across from me. So it was just weird. And But it was because of this where I was like, I cannot go on like this. Like, I cannot go on being this version of myself. I can't go on feeling like this. Like, and it had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with, like, me. And because of that breakup, I was like, I need therapy and I need to fix myself. And, like, granted, I did, but my motivations were a little wonky. And then I'm in it and I'm like, oh my God, like, how amazing life is when I, like, understand what my brain is doing. Mm-hmm. And, like, being able to be back in the relationship. And instead of feeling so anxious all the time, like, I'm going to lose you, I'm going to do this, like, if I'm not available, then this isn't available, and I can't do this for you. And it's like, no, like, we're in a relationship. I'll see you when I see you. I trust you, and you have your own life, and I got to do my own. And I think that was a really big, because I've never, like, been in love like this. Like, this is, like, otherworldly, you know what I mean? And so I just lost myself. Like, I completely forgot everything about myself. And, like, there were remnants, of course, but, like, all of it was gone. And I'm really glad that we, you know, broke up. And I was so worried, like, what if I change too much and then he won't? And it's like that. Well, why would you want to be with someone who doesn't want you at your fullest, you know? And so I am my fullest, and I feel really big and I feel really huge and just like here. And I'm really glad that we found our way back to each other, of course. But then I also got a cat during our breakup. Wouldn't have done that if I had a boyfriend. So yeah, it was like, it ended up being really good for my mental health. It was really good for my self-confidence, my independence, my self-assuredness. And so when, you know, the conversation of getting back together was introduced and like, I'm like, I'm about it. It was also like, but I'm really good on my own now. So I need to know that you can add to this. And he does. So that was a great experience in the moment, but oh my God, I loved it. Those are our Delve decks. If you want to take the plunge, you can do so today at boardwalk.com and order any of these decks. They are great for hangouts, hatred hangouts, first dates, finding common ground so we can stop fighting against each other and just get Odious the Orange out of office. Consider that. Anyway, until then, we love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us, okay? Goodbye, you guys.